For most of history, Greenland was this kind of frozen afterthought, way on the edge of the world. But suddenly, it's become one of the hottest properties on the planet. Superpowers are scrambling to get a piece of it, to invest in it, and yeah, even to buy it. So today, we're going to break down how this massive island became the center of a new global power struggle. So this all just blew up in the headlines back in 2019. A sitting U.S. president publicly offered to buy Greenland. It sounded completely bizarre, right? Like a joke. The Danish prime minister even called the idea absurd. But here's the thing. It wasn't a joke. And it wasn't even the first time the U.S. had tried. It was a loud and clear signal to the rest of the world. The great game for the Arctic was officially on. And that left pretty much everyone asking the same simple question. Why Greenland? What could possibly be so valuable about a country that's 80% ice sheet? Well, it turns out the real prize isn't what's on the ice. It's everything underneath it and all around it. Okay, so to really get why Greenland is such a big deal, you gotta look past all that ice. Its true value really comes down to three key things that global powers are now racing to control: its strategic location, its hidden resources, and its rapidly changing future. All right, first things first, let's talk size. On most maps you see, Greenland looks absolutely enormous, like as big as Africa. That's that classic map distortion we all learned about in school. In reality, its land area is much closer to Mexico's. But don't get me wrong, it is still the world's largest island, a continent-sized piece of real estate sitting at a global crossroads. And this is where it gets really mind-boggling. An area the size of Mexico, but with a population of just 57,000 people. To put that in perspective, Mexico has 128 million. This makes Greenland the least densely populated place on Earth. Just try to wrap your head around that. A huge, continent-sized piece of land, basically empty, and just full of potential. Okay, so this brings us to the first pillar of its value. Its location, location, location. Militarily, Greenland is like a giant, unsinkable aircraft carrier. It sits right between North America and Europe, and it anchors this critical naval choke point called the GIUK Gap. For NATO, that gap is absolutely critical. It's the gateway for keeping tabs on Russian submarines moving out of the Arctic and into the Atlantic. You control Greenland, you control that gate. All right, pillar number 2, it's what's hiding under all that ice. Think of it like a buried treasure chest, packed with rare earth elements. These are the crucial ingredients for, well, pretty much everything in our modern lives, from your smartphone to high-tech military gear. And why does that matter so much? Well, right now, China pretty much has a monopoly on the global supply. Greenland's deposits could totally shatter that dominance, which makes it a resource jackpot with huge geopolitical implications. And the third pillar? This one's a real game changer. It's the ice itself, melting away. As the Arctic warms up, a new ocean is literally opening up at the top of the world. And this isn't just an environmental story. It's a massive economic one. New, faster shipping lanes are opening up. You've got Russia's northern sea route and China's polar Silk Road. Suddenly, Greenland isn't some remote outpost anymore. It's sitting right in the middle of a future global superhighway. So with the chessboard changing this fast, you better believe the major players are making their moves. The once quiet Arctic has turned into a 21st century geopolitical hotspot, with three major powers all trying to get the upper hand. Just look at this timeline. It shows you just how fast things have heated up. After the Cold War, the US pretty much packed up and left. They actually sold a base back to Greenland for $1. But then, things started to shift. Russia began reopening its old Soviet-era bases. China, thousands of miles away, started calling itself a near-Arctic state. And by 2020, the US was back in a big way, reopening its consulate for the first time in decades. This isn't just renewed interest, folks. This is a full-on escalation. So what's everyone's endgame here? Well, they're all playing a different game. In a nutshell, the US is playing defense. It's all about national security and keeping rivals out of its neighborhood. Russia is playing offense, trying to reestablish military dominance and control those new sea routes. And China's playing the long game, using its economic power to secure resources and a permanent seat at the Arctic table. Now, the US has been in Greenland for a long time, but its presence there is more important than ever. Way up at the northern tip of Greenland, you've got the Potomac Space Base. And this is no dusty old relic. It's a cutting-edge facility that's America's first line of defense for missile detection and space surveillance. As the northernmost U.S. military base on the planet, it's an absolutely critical piece of North American defense. And then there's China. Geographically, they're nowhere near the Arctic, right? But they are playing an incredibly clever long game. See, they can't really flex their military muscles up there. So what do? They flex their economic muscles. They offered to pay for new airports. When the US and Denmark blocked that, they just switched to investing in mining projects. The strategy is obvious. Use money and infrastructure to buy influence and lock in a permanent foothold. But okay, in this whole great game between these global giants, there's one player that actually holds all the most important cards: the 57,000 people of Greenland themselves. They are not just pawns to be moved around. Far from it. Ultimately, they are the ones who will decide the future of their own nation. To really understand where they're coming from, you have to start with this one huge number: 500 million euros. That is the amount of money Greenland gets from Denmark every single year. It's the economic reality that shapes their entire political world. And this chart right here, it really puts that number into perspective. That massive grant from Denmark makes up nearly half of Greenland's entire government budget. It pays for their schools, their healthcare, pretty much everything. It's a total lifeline for sure, but it's also the biggest thing standing in the way of full independence. And yeah, that dream of independence, it's complicated. Greenland is already semi-autonomous. They run all their own domestic affairs, while Denmark takes care of defense and foreign policy. But the key thing to remember is this: they have the legal right to declare full independence whenever they want. The political desire is there, but the economic reality makes it a really, really tough choice. So, what do the people of Greenland actually think about all this foreign attention? Well, the polling here is absolutely fascinating. They are open for business, but they are also incredibly cautious. Just look at this. Almost 70% are against investment coming specifically from China. They know they need investment, they know they need development, but they are not about to become a pawn in somebody else's geopolitical game. So, you take all of this, the strategic location, the mineral wealth, the melting ice, and most importantly, the will of the people. And it's all coming to a head right now. The future of Greenland is being forged in this delicate balance between global ambition and local dreams. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures this incredible shift in thinking. For centuries, Greenland was seen as just a remote colony. But now, with the entire world knocking on their door, its people are starting to realize the massive leverage they have. Think about it. Without Greenland, Denmark is a pretty small European country. With Greenland, Denmark is an Arctic superpower. Suddenly, that gives 57,000 people a very, very powerful hand to play. In the end, Greenland's future is anything but simple. It's a high-stakes balancing act between security and sovereignty, between economic necessity and national identity. As the ice continues to melt and the giants of the world keep circling closer, the one question that matters more than anything is this: can this island of 57,000 people navigate these treacherous new currents of history to forge a future that's truly all their own?